Hello everyone.
Hi Retipantes! I'm Isaac.
My name's Jesse.
So, before we get started, we just have a few notes we'd like to share with you. So first of all is, please refrain from using your phones during performance, and if you're doing any photography, please make sure there's no flash, no shutter sounds. If you want to meet up with us afterwards, after the show, we're going to quickly get changed, then we're going to meet up in the foyer, which you will have passed by when you came into the theatre. So do come along if you'd like to have a quick chat afterwards. I'd really like to thank our donors. That's the Wellington Classical Association and the Hellenic Congress. What we're doing today would not be possible without them. In that vein, if you have a business and would be interested in making a donation or advertising with VATS next year, do get in touch. You can see some details on the back of the program for doing so. If you're a student and this excites you, if you think this is cool, I think it's cool, do come along to the AGM next year. It'll be in March. You can again see on the back of the program for details, and just look out for posters or announcements on our Facebook page.
Yeah, thank you all so much for coming out. It's a passion to see such, it's a bloody privilege to see so much passion for classical theatre tonight. This has been a really good year for the club, so that's why we're out saying all these words to you tonight. The Agamemnon is an absolutely awe-inspiring play. It's been a privilege to translate the work with everybody. So hopefully it's worthy of all this, everyone coming out. So we're really grateful. Yeah, the play itself, translating it from the ancient Greek was a horrific experience. It's not because the Greek is hard, but rest assured it's very hard. It was hard, but because in the original text, Agamemnon is eerie, it's really tragic, and it's absolutely terrifying. Essentially, these are the key things that we've tried to keep and to retain and adapt into our version of the play for your enjoyment this evening. So once again, thank you so much for coming out. Look forward to seeing people afterwards in the back. Yeah, without further ado, we really hope you enjoy it. Cheers.
Come on. This time. Gods! I beg you for freedom from these labors. Keeping watch over 10 years, I lie on my elbows like a dog. Now, truly, I am well acquainted with the assembly of night stars and the guiding constellations up in the cosmos. Bright stars carry winter and summer to mortals when they fall and rise again. But I seek the beacon sign, carrying news from Troy, as capture signaled by flames. For the moment, a woman orders us, her heart masculine, hopeful. All this time, my night-wandering bed is not looked upon by dreams, since fear, instead of sleep, stands before me. Whenever I think to sing or hum, a remedy for my sleepless nights, I just groan and lament the misfortune of this house. It is a shadow of its former self. Hello there, the torch of the night. You tell of a daylight brightness and initiate many dances in Argos. Woohoo! I must tell the wife of Clytemnestra and Agamemnon. I will rouse her from the house. Then she can begin a triumphant song. For this plain, since the city of Troy has fallen, the fire is a clear messenger. And I will dance. Firodor feroinonopai, Firodanthe mointes hermin, Stephanus enekonos me, Prosero tabukdalisdo. Come on, surely now, surely. See, the beacon has rolled me a 666. I ought not speak of the rest, for a great bull stands on my tongue, and the house itself, if it had a voice, would speak out more clearly than me. I'm speaking to those who understand, those of you who don't, well, what more can I say?
10 years have passed since they sailed against Troy and King Priam. Menelaus and Agamemnon, sons of Atreus, kings of kings, 2 brothers on 2 thrones bearing 2 scepters. They led the Greek armada, 1,000 ships strong, and their voices erupted from the heart in echoing war cries. Like birds of prey that veer off course with grief for their young, they circled high above their nests. They row their wings like oars, lost and looking for their chicks. Somewhere beyond the sky, a god hears their cries, and so Zeus sends a fury, vengeance embodied. So against Paris, mightiest Zeus then he ascends, Menelaus and Agamemnon, sons of Atreus, kings of kings, many men, for one woman. Like wrestlers that grapple until their muscles collapse, the Greek and Trojan mortals all press their knees into the dust and toil until bones break and spears snap, all for a bad marriage.
What's done is done, and what's come is come. The threads approach their destined end. Nothing can avert this. Neither kindling flame nor unburnt offerings can satisfy an unbending rage.
And unfortunately for us, stripped of vengeance because of our old age, we had to stay home from Troy. But Ares is absent from my old bones now. Old age leaves us no more warlike than a child wandering about to daydream.
And what of Queen Clytemnestra, daughter of Tyndareus? What has happened? Is there news? Why does she send instructions for sacrifice? All over the city, the gods' altars burn with gifts, and everywhere the flames brush against the sky. One moment, terrible anxiety floods my thoughts. But in the next, with these sacrifices of hers, hope wards off the fear that bites my heart.
The gods whisper a song in my ear, bursting with innate life of how a swooping bird gave the great command to Menelaus, Agamemnon, sons of Atreus, kings of kings, 2 brothers on 2 thrones bearing 2 scepters. They led the Greek youth with spear and avenging hand upon the land of Priam and his ancestors. Zeus, king of birds, to the kings of the ships, sent 1 black of wing and 1 white of tail to perch plainly on the spear hand side. They feast on a pregnant hare, the bearer of an unborn litter. Her final sprint they intercepted. Sing, sing the dirge, and let the good prevail.
And that careful army prophet, Calchas, he saw them. Menelaus, Agamemnon, sons of Atreus, kings of kings, 2 brothers on 2 thrones, bearing 2 scepters. Calchas saw the birds, he heard the song, he took the sign, and so he spoke, divining, our journey will take Troy one day, and fate will ravage all their citadel contains. But let not some divine malice cloud the army as it poises to spring upon Troy. For Artemis resents the winged dogs that Zeus calls eagles. She loved the hare, she loved its unborn young. Let her not interfere. Sing, sing the dirge, and let the good prevail.
For my part, I call on Apollo to ensure that ship-stopping winds don't hamper the fleet's return to our shores. For I fear some hasty sacrifice, not fit to feast nor flute, but brazen and incorrect. All too often an architect of conflict. For a crafty, housekeeping wife, no longer afraid of men, awaits her husband's return home as an avenger, a remembering wrath. Sing for the Greeks, the dirge,
and let the good prevail! So Agamemnon, the elder king, did not blame Calchas the seer. He persevered through fortune's gambit when the Greeks sat heavy with empty stomachs, stuck in Aulis. and the devilish winds conspired. Uneasy on the anchors, famished, destructive to men, they did not spare the ship's cables, and their gusts de-petaled the flower of Argos. When the prophet addressed Artemis, when he begged for her to stop, he divined from her a crueler remedy than any could imagine. Agamemnon, son of Atreus, king of kings, ruler of Argos and leader of the Greek fleet, wielder of Zeus's scepter. Artemis wants the blood of your daughter! Give her up, or give up this expedition! And Agamemnon wept. His tears were pooling in the dirt, and he was beating the ground with his scepter, though it felt like just a stick.
And Agamemnon said, to disobey my fate, a heavy weight, but heavy too to slay my daughter. She's my house's jewel, but think, her blood across the altar, staining stone and throne with my own, a virgin murdering, curdling bloodstream. So what is not without one woe too many? Do I desert? Betray my allies now? The winds have stopped, and the gods demand her blood with anger on anger. May it turn out well. When he donned the yoke of need, he breathed filthy and profane air. He polluted his soul and learned to think in cold, straight lines of steel. Ill omens make men weep, but he encased his heart in armor, and he himself became his very own daughter's sacrificer, became an aid to a war for a woman's hand, became the flood that set the fleet afloat. The chiefs who loved the war, they did not care about our Iphigenia, not her cries and supplications, not her calls for her father, not her life. She fell about her father's robes. He had his servants hold her face like a still young goat against the altar, had them gag her mouth to hold back her clear curses against the house. They bridled her with voiceless force. Her saffron robes were crumpled in the dirt. Her eyes spat arrows, one for every man. She looks for pity. They avert their gaze. She wants to cry out, wants to call out, since she often sang for these very men at home when they were visiting Agamemnon. She would sing with lovely song and would honor their sacrifices. Next, I shan't speak of what happened next. He appeased her, the goddess.
In cases of justice, it is better to learn than to suffer. When at last the future delivers us into the present, only then will you hear of it. Clarity comes together with the dawn. Whatever is next, may it be just and in accordance with Clytemnestra's wishes, the woman closest to our guardian Agamemnon. It is customary to honour the wife of the ruler, so I have done as much, since his throne is absent. Clytemnestra, whether you have learned of honest news or not, you sacrifice with the hope of a happy message. Let me hear the news, and gods, let it be good.
This dawn brings the light at the end of the tunnel. With it, you will learn of joy greater than you hoped to hear. For the Greeks have taken Priam's city, mighty Troy.
What are you talking about?
Troy has become Greek. Am I speaking clearly?
Impossible. Lord Agamemnon's returning home.
What makes you so sure about the news? Where's your proof?
Unless a god deceives me, I have a sure sign.
What? Some phantom of your dreams?
I would not accept the opinion of my sleeping mind.
Did you perhaps catch wind of some wingless rumor?
You scorn me as though I'm a child.
Well, at what time was the city destroyed?
I'm saying it was destroyed during the night.
And who arrived as a swift messenger of this news?
Hephaestus, who sends a bright blaze from Mount Ida, sends a messenger flame from beacon to beacon. In Hera's footsteps, from Ida to Lemnos, to the watchtowers of Mekistus, from the rivers Euripos, Asopos, Kitharos, the Coronicos Strait, lofty Archneus, and finally, to the roofs of this royal palace. The beacon is Mount Ida's grandchild, and its fires travelled to me. Such is the custom of my beacon watchers, so I speak of this sure sign to you, proof of my husband's tidings at Troy.
I will pray to the gods again, lady. But please, continue so we may listen and marvel at your words.
The Greeks have taken Troy today. Their city is full of cries that will not harmonize. When you pour oil and water into the same vessel, they do not mix. You would not say that they are friends. You can hear the separate cries of the conquered and the conquering, a twofold turning of fate. Those people who mourn the bodies of their husbands and brothers, those children who mourn their elderly parents, they bewail the fates of their loved ones from throats no longer free. As for the Greeks, who roamed outside the city walls during the war, they are ravenous and eager to sack the city for their breakfast. They do not draw their rations from rationality, but from whatever they can get their hands on. Now, the Greeks live in spare-captured Trojan palaces, sleeping as though they are blessed, unguarded during the night. If they honor a city's gods and temples, then the conquerors will not be captured in turn. May they not indulge themselves to plunder that which they shouldn't, to profit off of conquering, because they still need to return home safely. Their journey is far from over. If they return home without upsetting the gods, they may appease the grief of the dead, unless the axe of sudden misfortune cuts them down. You hear these things from me, a woman. May the unwavering good prevail and be clear to all, for there are many good things here that I have chosen to enjoy.
You speak as wisely as a man, woman. No deeds enact themselves freely, so I will be the one to invoke the gods. Lord Zeus, who obtains the glories of the universe, you cast a constricting net over the Trojan citadels. Neither adult nor child could escape its subjugation, a total enslavement. Paris launched his arrow in vain, and Zeus, the god of guest friendship, drew his bow in return.
Zeus did what Zeus does. Some might deny the gods pay attention to mortals, and some say they simply trample humble folk. But the refugees see clearly that humans only face insufferable war, greater than ever thought possible when their houses are overabundant, more excessive wealth than any mortal should have. The man who kicks the altar of justice into obscurity is irretrievably doomed.
Persuasion, too, is a destroyer. She is ruin's irresistible child, a sickness with no remedy. She does not hide, but sits in the open, gleaming with horrible light. Like a child chasing a winged bird, persuasion makes disgrace in cities where no god will listen to their prayers. And so, by the theft of a wife, Paris disgraced the guest friendship of Agamemnon's kin.
Paris? Helen left them all behind for foreign cities in turmoil. Helen planned an ambush for the army of the fleet. Helen led murder to Troy in place of a dowry. She treads lightly through the gates. She dares the undareable. And the city prophets groaned. They could look over the sea to where Menelaus lay alone. The mournful phantoms of his dreams seem to carry an empty grace. He thinks he's caught a glimpse of Helen, only for her vision to slip through his fingers.
And across Greece, women know who was sent to Troy. But they wonder, Who will come back as a man? And who will come home in an urn?
Ares, the banker of bodies, the one who mans the scales in the war of the spear. He sends the terror-inducing dust back from Troy, burnt to ashes and fully loaded into storage. The women groan, they say a few words. Oh, how skilled in battle he was. Oh, how beautifully he fell amidst the carnage. But someone snarls in the silence, all for another man's wife.
Heavy rumours, spreading anger throughout the city. A debt paid by a curse that rules over the people. Here I sit, waiting for something to happen to calm my nerves. The gods have eyes for men who murder. You watch. Black furies serve up a dim fate for those who try to escape justice. It is dangerous to be spoken of with hubris, for Zeus strikes the houses of the arrogant with thunder. I prefer an ungrudging happiness any day. May I not be a sacker of cities.
But what about the nimble news that comes from the beacon? Who knows whether it's true or the falsity of some god? It befits the judgment of a woman to consent in thanks before proof of the news appears. A woman's mind is sweeping, persuasive, swift, but her fame perishes in a sudden death.
Oh, so we will know if news from the relay of the beacon is true or not. For I see this messenger come to the shore, covered with the Trojan dust that assures me of his testimony. He is no smoke signal from the mountains, let him speak. He will add more joys to the pile.
Oh, soil of my fathers, land of Argos, I have returned after 10 years. Many hopes shattered, but this one fulfilled. I've never believed I would die in the land of Argos and share in my family's tomb. Now Zeus and Apollo bless this land and bless the light of the sun. I greet all the gods, but Hermes most of all, beloved herald, revered by heralds. May the land receive what remains of our army. House of kings, dear halls, receive your king gloriously and with gladness in your eyes. He pulled Troy up by the roots, just as Zeus the Avenger tends to his garden. Agamemnon did this for the theft his house suffered. The sons of Priam have paid a twin penalty for their mistakes.
Hail, herald from the Greek army.
Hail! Now that I'm home, even death would be a great joy.
Has homesickness worn you down?
Enough to make me cry with happiness.
Then it was a pleasant sickness that struck you.
How do you mean?
You yearned for those who yearned for you.
Do you mean Argus yearned for the yearning army?
The city groans from its dark core.
Where did this darkness come from?
For a long time, silence has kept us safe.
How do you mean? Were you afraid of something while our rulers were gone?
So afraid that, as you say it, even death would be a great joy.
Well, I think things have turned out great. As for the war, God, they don't know what war is like. Hard work, ship beds, crammed ships, cracked rations, rain from the sky, rain from the ground, lice in my clothes, boots, and hair. Too cold, then too hot, and always wind. Except for when we got to Thrace. But why linger on all this rubbish? The time is past. We should prepare for our leader's return. You have the whole story.
Sounds like good advice. We shall pass it on to Clytemnestra and the palace.
You knew as much from me when the beacon fires came, that Troy was sacked and our army returns home. Yet someone rebuked me, saying, "So beacon watchers have persuaded you that Troy is now fallen, and truly is like a woman to count her chickens before they hatch." But I made the sacrifices in this womanly way. I raised the cry in the city. I announced good omens. I lit up the shrines of the gods. I burned the incense. So why should I hear a longer story from you? I'll hear the whole story from the king himself. I'll hurry to give him the best welcome possible. For what is sweeter in the eyes of a woman than this daylight, than opening the gates for her husband when the god has saved him from the army. Herald, give this message to my husband. He is to return home as quickly as possible, for he is this country's darling. May he find, on his return, his wife, exactly as he left her, the watchdog of his house, faithful to him and enemy to those who wish him ill. I know no scandalous rumor, nor pleasure of another man, any more than I know the sharpening of weapons on whetstones. Such a boast, laden with truth, is not shameful to the speech of a noble wife.
A plausible speech. You heard what she said, but if you learn by a clear interpreter, you know what she means. Herald. Oh. I wish to hear of Agamemnon's brother, Menelaus, if he is safe in his return home with you all, our land's dear lord.
The man vanished from the Achaean army, him and his ship. I speak no lies.
You say a storm came on the navy, fostered by the grudge of the gods?
It is not fitting to pollute a day of good omen with a tongue of bad news. How should I mix the good and the bad, telling of the storm experienced by the Greeks? Not without the anger of the gods. For a sworn alliance arose between those former enemies, fire and water, who then proved it by destroying the unlucky Argive army. In the night, bad things arose from the stormy seas. The Thracian gusts smashed ships against one another, and buffeted by the violence of a storm churned by beating rain, they disappeared and were gone thanks to the whirling of an evil shepherd. But when the bright light of the sun arose, we saw the Aegean Sea flowering with the corpses of Achaean men and wrecked ships. We and our ship, however, its hull unbroken, we escaped Hades at sea. But now, if any of them are still alive, they speak of us as destroyed. And why shouldn't they? We think of them in the same condition. If, at any rate, some ray of sun now learns he is alive and seeing, by contrivance of Zeus, not yet willing to completely destroy the family line, there is some hope he may return to the palace. Hearing these things, know ye hear the truth.
Malaka! Who gave Helen a name so true? Was it someone who knew what her future would bring? Helenas, destroyer of ships. Helandros, destroyer of men. Heleptolis, destroyer of cities. Helen watches the world burn from her bedroom. And Wrath did as she pleased and set the marriage in motion. But she exacted payment later for the favor from those who dishonored Zeus and from those who sang in celebration at the sacrilege. I suppose that Priam's old city groans greatly now. The wailing hymn echoes back through the streets and shrieks for Paris, the fatally wedded. Troy endured a life of utter destruction and lamentation because of the pitiful bloodshed of her citizens.
There was once a man who raised a lion's cub in his own home. It yearned for the breast and got no milk. At first, this cub was tame, beloved by the young and delightful to the elderly, fawning to hand when it felt hunger in its stomach. Yet, after some time, this cub revealed its true character, unmistakable from its father. In return for its upbringing, it called for a feast, and there it slaughtered sheep and purpled the house with blood. It caused endless wounds for this household, A great slaughtering sickness, killing all. It reared in the house like some priest of madness.
You know, at first Helen might seem like a spirit of mindless calm. She arrives at the city of Troy with a gentle adornment of wealth, and with a soft glance of the eyes, she's a heart-vexing flower of desire. But then she swerves aside, and the fleet behind her breaches the horizon. She swoops upon the children of Priam, a fury sent by Zeus Xenia for the sake of bridal lament.
Even a fortunate family can be annihilated by fate. I believe that profane deeds create more of their ilk. And the destiny of a just household always lives on in its children.
Ancient hubris tends to beget new hubris in men, whether it be immediate or later in time. Whenever it is prepared, a ceaseless, unstoppable demon churns itself up from the dregs, wearing the faces of the household's ancestors. Justice only shines in the smoky houses of those who honor the righteous. No reverence to false power, no stolen wealth. Justice guides all to the finish line.
Behold, your King Agamemnon returns.
Come now, King, the sacker of Troy, the son of Atreus. How shall I address you? How shall I honor you? We ought not overshoot our praise, nor fall short of the due measure. There are many here who pretend at justice, feeling no real pain while they groan at the misfortunes of others. In fact, they rejoice with one another, concealing delight and calculated thought behind gloomy faces. When you prepared your army for Helen's sake, did not hide the fact that you left a terrible impression on me. You seemed to steer your mind poorly, to draw hubris out of sacrifices and dying men. Now, however, I look favourably upon those who have completed the expedition. After you investigate, my lord, you will know whom among your citizens has guarded your city justly, and who deserves punishment.
Let me speak to Argos and the local gods first, because they shared in my return and in the punishment I exacted passing through the city of Troy. For those gods heard pleas for justice, not from our war cries, but from Greek depths, and cast their votes into the bloodied ballot box. They did not waver from the destruction of Troy. Only hope abstained from casting her vote. Smoke still rises over the conquered city. Ruinous hurricanes live on. The dying embers send forth great blasts of wealth. Yes! And now, to close our accounts, we must pay the gods a price of careful thanks, since we snared the city in a cruel trap. And because of a woman, the Greek Darkos, the flesh-eating lion, the offspring of the horse, the shield-bearing grace, ground their city into powder and lapped up its share of blood. Yes! I have not forgotten your concerns, men of Argos. As for those who stayed at home, we will determine who is just and who is not. I will set up a royal tribunal, and we resolve this in the assembly. When the city's health is good, well, it shall be maintained. Where there is disease, we will amputate and cauterize. I know it won't be easy. It is a quality of few men to honor a fortunate friend without jealousy. Troy has taught me the superficial nature of talk. The illusion of discourse is a ghost of a shadow where flattery is concerned. You see, only Odysseus, he never wanted to join me in the first place. Only he was my willing trace horse, once he was yoked. And I speak of him not knowing if he is alive or dead. Now, I go into my halls and to the hearth of my home. I will greet the gods first. Those who sent me forth have brought me back again. May victory, since she came here with me, remain here without fail.
Men of the city, elders of Argos gathered here, I will not be ashamed to speak to you of my husband-loving ways. Hesitance to do such things dies away over time. I will speak firsthand of my miserable life for all the time that he was at Troy. Firstly, it is a terrible evil for a woman to be left home alone, far from her husband. She hears malignant rumors of various disasters. One comes, and then another, each worse than the last, rattling the house. If my husband had received so many wounds as rumor told the household, he would have more holes than a net. And if he had died as many times as reported, he would have 3 bodies, one having died for each shape the rumor took. Because of these rumors, the noose above my neck has been forcefully undone many times. For these same reasons, our child is not here beside me, the testament to our vows, yours and mine, as he should be. Orestes, don't be surprised by this. Strophius, the Phocian, your kinsman, is raising him. After he warned me of possible disaster. You were at Troy, after all, and the state was vulnerable, and the people... Well, it is human nature to kick a man while he's down. I would not lie to you, husband. The gushing fountains of my wailings have dried up, and not a drop remains. I cried for those beacon fires that no one ever lit. I tossed and turned in my sleep, watching you suffer more than dreams have time for. In spite of this, my mind is clear at last. I would greet my husband as the dog that guards the homestead, the forestay that saves the ship, the firm pillar of a lofty roof, the only child of a father, the gushing stream to a thirsty traveller, the land that appears to a sailor beyond all hope, the most beautiful dawn to see after a storm. Such are the addresses I deem him worthy of. May the gods' envy stay away, for we have already suffered so much. Now, dear heart, step down from the wagon. But don't put your foot on the ground, Lord, destroyer of Troy!
Oh?
Slaves, what have I told you? Spread his path with purple cloth, so that justice may lead him home.
Daughter of leader, keeper of my house, you have spoken at a length suitable of my absence, for I was gone a long time. But this sort of honor must come from others. Don't treat me delicately in the way of a woman. And don't gape at me like a barbarian man, groveling and shouting at my feet. And don't dare to cover my path in these beautiful garments. To trample them would be hubris. Mark my words, we must honor the gods. There is no way for your mortal man to step on these embroideries without fear. I say to honor me as a man, not a god. The omens of doormats and tapestries cry out very separately indeed. A man is only happy if he ends his life with lovely well-being. So long as I behave like this in every way, then I am confident.
Tell me, husband, you would not lie to me of your opinion, would you?
I would never conduct my judgment or hide my feelings. No.
Yet you have sacrificed greater things than these garments in times of trouble, have you not?
Yes, but only when an expert guided me to such a course of action.
Would King Priam have stepped on these garments had he been the man that achieved your success?
Certainly. He would have trampled all over these precious garments, but he was a...
Then why do you concern yourself with the opinions of other men? You are a king. Act like one.
Nevertheless, people's voice carries weight.
Indeed it does. Pity is a far worse fate than envy. It is not enviable to be the unenvied man.
Nor is it your part, woman, to be so eager for your fight.
I am merely invested in your return. For a man so successful as yourself, surely it is proper, in the right moment, to allow yourself to be conquered.
You really value victory in this struggle, don't you?
Oh, give in, my lord. Surely you win if you hand yourself over to me.
Have it your way. If I am forced to trample these purple sea-dyed garments, you there, take off my shoes. It is a great shame to ruin a house by trampling its silver-woven wealth. But so shall this be! May not the jealous eye of some faraway god strike me down. Ah, I almost forgot. Receive this foreign woman into the house. Zeus looks kindly on the person who uses power gently. No one chooses to be a slave, but she is the chosen flower of great spoils, a gift from my army. And she has come with me. Since I am forced to listen to you and trample these purple sea-dyed garments, what am I doing?
Who could drain the sea until it is dry? The murex produces the dye worth its weight in silver, and thanks to the gods, we dip our clothes in its ever-renewing flow. Through them, this house has plenty, my lord. This family will never know poverty. For your safe return, I would have promised to trample 1,000 garments. Please, I thought it'd be nice. The house sprouts leaves when its roots are alive. When you come to the palace hearth, you are the heat in winter, you are the cool in summer. The lord of the house is home. Zeus, Lord Zeus, hear my prayer. Enact those things that you intend to attend to.
Why does fear flit around my prophetic heart? Unbidden and unfed, my thoughts unravel before me like a ball of wool. Persuasive confidence to spit out my song like obscure dreams. 10 years have passed their prime since the sands flew up together with the ship's cables, when a seafaring army came at once to Troy's walls. With my own eyes I have seen their homecoming, but in my soul a dirge groans on without bidding, an unlamenting dirge of furies in my heart. There is no hope or confidence in that, but justice, vengeance, close to my mind as well, perhaps. There is some solace yet. In any case, I pray that these omens do not come to pass. Man's fate may flow in a straight line before suddenly crashing on the invisible reef. Were it not that one fate constrained another, my soothsaying heart would outrun my tongue. Now it murmurs with a grieved spirit and cannot hope to effect anything in time. My mind is aflame.
Go inside. Come on! ordains that you'll have a share of this house's hospitality, so come! Don't be arrogant. Step down from the wagon. You'll have from us just what custom dictates.
She has spoken clearly. You are the prey of fate, so you ought to comply.
Perhaps she is possessed by her barbarian language. I speak to her capacity for understanding, which is clearly non-existent.
Go, child. She speaks of the best course available to you.
I don't have leisure to waste outside. Sheep stand at the hearth within, ready for slaughter, thanks to this joyous occasion. Do you understand any of this? Make some sign with your barbarian hand.
The stranger seems to need a clear interpreter. She is like a beast, newly captured.
Oh, she rages and obeys her awful mind. Since she comes from a city newly conquered, she does not know how to withstand the bridle before foaming out her spirit in blood. No, I will say no more just to be dishonored like this.
I will not be angry, for I pity her. Come, unhappy girl, leave the wagon. Make way for your new lot in life, you must.
Apollo! What are you doing waiting for her?
Apollo!
Again, she calls the god for whom weeping is not appropriate.
Guardian of the paths, my destroyer!
This second time you have destroyed me utterly!
She cries out in her own misery. Though enslaved, it seems divinity is still within her.
Apollo, guardian of the paths, my destroyer. Where have you led me? What sort of house is this?
You are at the palace of Agamemnon and his ancestors, girl. If you do not understand, I'll have to tell you plainly.
No! Rather to a godless house, witness to many evils, kindred murder and the rending of flesh, a slaughterhouse of men with blood on its floors! She tracks a murderous course, like some hound with a keen nose. Yes, those babies cry out for their own murder and their roasted flesh eaten by their father. The evidence is in there!
We know of your fame for prophecy, but we're not looking for a prophet.
Disaster! Some vast terror is plotted in this house, insufferable, impossible for this family to remedy. Help is so far away.
I know of the troubled past of Agamemnon's house. The whole city speaks of it, but I do not follow this new prophecy of yours now.
Oh, wretched woman, is this what you will accomplish? You share your bed with him, your husband. Prepare his bath. How to tell of the end? It will be quick. She reaches out. She stretches forth hand over hand.
Obscurity and riddles. I don't understand. This strange oracle has me puzzled.
What is this I see? Is it a net of Hades? More. This net shares his bed, shares in his murder. Let insatiable strife shrink over this family. This sacrifice is worthy only of stoning.
You would invoke a fury to scream over the palace? Such talk is deeply disturbing.
Fear creeps into my heart like impending doom, for a man fallen and about to die. Surely death comes quickly then. Look! Keep the bull away from the cow! She snares him in a robe, black-horned. She strikes and he falls in a pool of water. I'm telling you, a catastrophe, a birth of treacherous murder! I am no expert in prophecies, but these are evil. What good do prophecies bring to mankind? Their fear-mongering skill makes me well acquainted with horror. Oh, my end is ill-fated. It is for my own wretched treatment on top of his that I cry out. Why have you led me here? For no reason but to die with another. Why else?
You are disturbed. Possessed by some god, no doubt.
The gods preserve from the only death at the hands of a wicked and double-edged blade!
Where do these vain prophetic surges come from? And why do you conjure songs about such terrible things? Where lies the boundary of her wretched prophecy?
The marriage of Paris deadly to his friends. Scamander, my ancestral stream flowing still beside Troy's ravaged walls. I grew up with care on your banks. But I will sing on the banks of Acheron in Hades from this day forth.
Acheron, you heard these words? A baby might understand. She intends to die.
I am terrified by you, whimpering about your cruel fate. It tears me apart to hear you speak this way.
I don't know what to make of all this.
My prophecies will no longer peer from behind a veil like a modest bride, but they will come to me, clear as a breeze blowing from the east to the shore. Like a wave, my prophecy will break on the shores of far greater miseries. I speak in riddles no longer. Behold, as I track the course of this ancient wrong into the present. A discordant chorus sings out and never quits this roof. Bloated on human blood, and all the more emboldened for it, a pack of kindred furies lurks in the palace depths, frantic. They trash the inner chambers and chant hymns to the ruinous deeds of this household, spitting at the bed of a brother or adulterer's fuck! Have I left anything out? Or have I hit the mark like a real archer? Perhaps I am a false prophet, a beggar, a babbler. I know the mistakes of this house, and they are ancient.
You grow up across the sea and tell the truth about a city of another creed as if you had been there. I marvel at you, girl.
The seer Apollo gave me this gift.
The god? He desired you?
It was shameful to speak of this before now.
Of course. Things are different during times of peace.
He pinned me down. He was panting for me.
Did you bid him?
Oh, I consented. But I was scared. I changed my mind.
And he had already given you these prophetic powers?
Yes. I told my dear Trojans of the sufferings to come, but they would not listen. I persuade no one of my prophecies. This is Apollo's revenge.
Well, to us at least, you seem to tell the truth.
So you see them, the young ones sitting before the house, like figures in a dream. Children murdered by their kin. Their hands are full with flesh of a meal made in their own home, their own organs, insides which their father tasted. For those children, a feeble lion tosses about in its bed and plans retribution, a watchdog waiting for my master. The leader of ships and destroyer of Troy does not know the hateful dog's tongue that lies. It speaks so well, greets him so kindly. She will get her revenge by stealth. Such courage she has. The woman slays the man. Is she another Scylla at home amongst the rocks and a blight for sailors? What hateful beast ought I name her? This hellish mother hot for endless war against her family. How the all-daring woman has shouted for joy. She seemed to rejoice at the homecoming of her protector, did she not? If I do not convince you this too, what does it matter? Never mind. What is destined to be will come. Soon all of you here, with great pity, will call me a prophet of truth.
My head is running in circles! These portents make no sense!
I say you will see Agamemnon dead!
Speak good omens, wretched girl, and soften your mouth!
No cure follows these words.
Well, which man readies this plot? We must find him out at once!
You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you? She, the lioness on her hind legs, she mates with the wolf in the absence of her noble lion. She will kill me as if brewing a poison. She stirs in anger, but jealousy too as penance for my slavery. She sharpens her axe to exact a murder in return for my abduction. Why do I hang on to this staff? This garland, prophetic garb, which serves no other purpose than to mock me. I will destroy you at least before the end. Rot in the ground! Make someone else rich with prophecy now instead of me. I warned my good friends in vain. I warned them. Friends who ridiculed me and turned foes while I wore these garments. Like some lunatic, I was called peddler, beggar, a wretch depraved, and I withstood it all. Now Apollo undoes me and leads me to a dead end. Instead of my father's altar, a butcher's block awaits me, where I will be hacked up on the spot in a hot and bloody sacrifice. But we will not die without honor from the gods. A matricidal son, the vengeance of his father, will come to avenge us. Once he returns, he will complete the terrors of his family. I will go to my fate. I will dare to die. I greet these doors as the gates of Hades, and pray for a quick fatal blow, so that I might close my eyes without struggle as my blood flows out in an easy death.
Oh, woman, so wise yet suffering so. You've said much. Why walk so bravely to the altar like some sacrificial victim, if you know you will die there?
There is no escape, friends. There is no more time.
But your last moments should be important.
The day is here. I would profit little by running now.
We worry for the fate of the king.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Glory and Kleos give us all an insatiable drive to accomplish great deeds. It is how we might live on after our mortal bodies are dead and gone. No one turns away a chance of success when it is at the door. Likewise, no one keeps Kleos away from the palace and says, "Don't come in." The blessed gods have given mighty Troy over to this man. Honored by them, he has come home at last. For any kind of death to take him now, even to repay the blood of his forefathers, only in such wild circumstances would somebody say that the gods have forsaken us all.
Sostratus is right. Of course. The city of Argos values your sage wisdom. Help!
What was that? What's happening in the house?
The deed is done, judging by the cries of the king. We are not safe.
What are we going to do?
I say to you my proposal. Summon all the townsfolk to the house of the shout. No! We must fall on them at once! Catch them in the act while the sword is still fresh and flowing with blood!
That is a good plan. At least we were doing something. It's imperative that we do not delay.
It's easy to see these actions mark the coming of tyrants in our city.
We are wasting time. Come on.
No, wait! You fools! I don't like this plan. I don't know what to do. If they killed our king, what will become of us? Those who do the deed will have more in store for us yet.
I am also the son. I don't know how to bring back the dead with words.
Are we going to live out our meager lives by surrendering the tyrants and them? The ones who dishonor this home?
No! It's not tolerable! Death is preferable! Death is less bitter than tyranny! So we're going to decide by a few groans the man is dead?
We must know for sure before we act. It is not the same thing to guess and to know for certain.
At any rate, clearly we must see how the son of Atreus is faring. Come on!
Now,
Go in already!
I have said much before to suit my needs, so I will not be ashamed to say the opposite now. How else could I entrap an enemy that appears to be a friend?
This family's cursed by ancient conflict.
I stand. The deed is done. This is how it happened. I won't deny it. I won't run. I won't ward off fate. I threw an endless net around him, just like he was a fish, an evil wealth of fabric. And I struck him twice, and twice he cried out and loosened his limbs. And once he had fallen, I struck him a third time to invoke my prayer to Zeus of the underworld, savior of the dead. He drew forth his soul and blew it out in sharp clots of blood. It struck me as a black shower of murderous rain, and I rejoiced, no less than the budding flowers rejoice in the showers sent by Zeus of the spring. Men of Argos, you too should rejoice, if you can. If it were possible to pour libations on this corpse in a fitting way, it would be just. No, more than just. With so many accursed evils, this man filled the mixing bowl in his house, and returning home, he drank it up. You should be ashamed of yourself, bursting over your husband's body with words such as these. Trial me as a woman without sense, but my heart is fearless. I speak to those of you who know. Whether you wish to praise me or blame me, it is the same. Here is Agamemnon, my husband. A corpse, the deed of this right hand. This is how it is.
Woman, what evil thing did you eat that could have... What drink arising from the liquid of the sea caused you to make such a sacrifice?
You've broken the law and severed your public oath. Cast her out of the city is a burden of hatred to the citizens. So now you would condemn me to exile and to the hatred of the people. But you held nothing in opposition to this man. He sacrificed my daughter, my most loved child, as if she had no special value at all. She died like an animal plucked from his flocks, killed for a gust of Thracian breeze. Isn't he the one that you should have banished as payment for his pollution? You judge me too harshly. Be warned. Threaten me and know that I will be ruled by the one who vanquishes me in combat. But when Zeus rules in my favor, you will be taught better judgment, although it will be too late.
You are ambitious. Jumped up and screaming like that. The flecks of blood in your eyes betray the madness in your heart. You must pay the penalty. Forsaken by friends, a blow to pay the price of a blow.
Yeah! You've heard my righteous oath, declared by ruin and justice and fury for my daughter, to whom I sacrificed this man. No expectation of fair treads these halls for me. Not when the fires of my hearth are kindled by Aegisthus. He loved me then, and he still loves me now. He is no small shield of courage for me.
Shame.
Here lies the ravisher, charmer of all the sluts at Troy. And here is his captive, prophetess, seer, concubine, faithful whore, the one that wore out all of the ship's benches. Nothing here happened without honor, for they are dead.
Oh, may our deaths be quick and painless. Our beloved guardian is dead after he suffered 10 years for a woman, and for a woman lost his life. Man, Helen! So many lives ruined at Troy. This is your doing. Even then, a demon lurked in this house, source of misery for a husband.
Oh, don't pray for death. And don't blame my sister as the destroyer of men. Demon!
who plagues this house and its men. You dare to stand over his body and vow to sing your discordant songs!
You've gone too far by invoking the demon of this family. It wounds the household, and before we heal, it strikes again.
Alas! Alas! A tale of insatiable woe!
For God's sakes.
Woe! Done by Zeus, the cause of all, the all-affecting. For what happens to mortals without Zeus's will? Oh, King! King, how will I cry for you? How will I speak of the love in my heart? You lie in this spider's web, breathing out your life in a pious death, overpowered by a treacherous fate of hand.
Do not imagine me to be the wife of this corpse. I am ancient, bitter, the avenging spirit of dead children.
That changes nothing!
Black Ares forces his way through streams of kindred blood to wherever his advance will present justice for the frost of eaten children.
The demon may be your accomplice, but still she must answer.
Did he not bring this on himself when he murdered Iphigenia? Let him not boast in Hades. He paid for what he started.
I am lost. Who will bury him? Who will lament him? Or will you undertake these duties and deliver a graceless servant to his spirit?
That is not your concern. He died by my hand, so I will bury him. Iphigenia will greet her father at the Ferry of Sorrows, as is right.
This family is stuck fast in ruin.
I, at any rate, wish to lay down a pact with the demon of this family. Enough is enough. May it leave us and wear down some other family with kindred slaughter. A small part of the property will be enough for me once I have cleansed this house of the madness of murder.
Retribution at last! Out of my way, woman!
Yes! Finally! Finally, I can say that the gods oversee the pain of mortals. For I see this man, trapped in garments spun by furies, and it is a joyous tale. What? He's paid in full for the schemes done at the hands of Atreus, his father, has he not? That man cast out my father Thyestes from the city. They were brothers! Yet Atreus felt threatened and so exiled him. Later, my father returned as a supplicant, and there he suffered the godless hospitality of Agamemnon's father. He pretended to throw a feast, and he served Thyestes the flesh of his own children. He cut off my brother's hands and feet and hid them beneath the crust. How was my father to know? He shared in the feast which doomed this household. Upon discovering the deed, he reeled back, hurled forth an awful cry. He vomited slaughtered flesh, upended the table, and issued an unbearable curse. May the line of Atreus be wiped from this earth. I tell you why you see this man lying here, and justly have I engineered his murder. For you see, together with my miserable father, Atreus drove me out, a third child, yet in my swaddling clothes. But now,
Grown to manhood, justice has summoned me back once more. Even death would be a thing of beauty for me now that I've seen this man in justice's net.
Augustus, you say that you gladly slew this man, that you plotted to murder yourself. You will not escape punishment! Be clear on that!
Sorry. Who do you think you are? It's humiliating to be shown your place when you're of such an age. All the more when you're naked, chained up, and starving. I mean, do you look but fail to see? Do not strike the goads. For you will hit them. Hurt yourself.
You stay-at-home draft dodger, disgracing a husband's marriage bed, while braver men fight wars.
You don't stop, do you? I will make you submit by force.
As if you'd ever be king to me! You couldn't even kill him yourself.
I didn't have a choice. Did you see this woman's work? I was in exile. You'll soon see that the royal fortune and iron chains will support my rule. Hunger and darkness will make you broken men.
Have you forgotten, Orestes? He may yet return and become the killer of 2 tyrants.
Stubborn, I'll give you that. I'll teach the lesson myself.
Up, dear comrades, such work is not far off.
Come on then. Every man draw their blades.
My sword is drawn and I'm not afraid to die.
You speak of dying with readiness. I gladly welcome such a fate.
Men, no! We have done enough evil. To reap even what we have is plentiful. A wretched harvest. Hostility is growing against us in earnest. So let us not shed more blood. Go on. And you, venerable elders, back to your homes. Give way in due course before you suffer more harm. Let this madness stop here. The pressed heavily as we are by the gods' boots. So holds the word of a woman, should anyone deign to listen.
These men dare to speak against me, to reject wise counsel and insult their master.
It was never the Argive way to fawn over an evil man.
But I'll have a part to play in that in days to come, no doubt.
Oh, God's willing, not if Orestes returns home soon.
Please, I know from experience that exiled men feed on hope.
Go on then, fatten yourself on crimes and tyranny. Pollute justice while you can, it will not last.
Know that you will give atonement to me for such folly.
Brag! Brag on about your bravery. You are a cock beside his head.
Don't listen to his empty words. You and I have the ability to arrange the affairs of our household well. Put that away.